Damn. I still can't hear you. It could be me. I'm trying to figure it out.
Testing, testing, 1, 2. Can you hear me? Now I can't hear you.
Okay, I was on mute. I can hear you now.
Okay, we're good?
Yeah,
Uh,
we're good.
for sure. We in the game. All right, I apologize for these technical difficulties. I'm looking forward to this session. I've been following Erinn for a minute. I've been just seeing your tweets. So her and I have never spoke before. This is going to be our first conversation. So I'm very, very much looking forward to hearing what you have to say from an artist management perspective, from a business owner's perspective. I don't even know how long you've been doing this. So all this is going to be new to me. But thank you for joining us. I really appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much. I'm like a little bit slow right now. Is it moving in speed right now? Am I good? Am I delayed?
So your picture is a little fuzzy, but I can hear you.
Okay, hold on one second.
But we're gonna make it. I don't know what's going on with StreamYard this morning, y'all. I appreciate people tapping in. I see some regulars. Cloud9, what up? Silence, what up? Booth on the beat. Mike Finn, what up? Shane, what's going on? And some new folks. I see Paul Starr, Kwame Eric Bricky, what's going on? Rock 5, he's a regular. Eighth Life, what up? We're gonna sort this out. I promise you, this is gonna be a dope discussion. I think there's gonna be a lot learned in this session. I know I plan on learning a lot. Just from watching from afar and seeing the things that Erinn is into and the people that she works with. So I'm excited for this conversation. How's everybody doing today? Let me know in the comments. Let me know. That boy Butter, what's up? Mr. Alonzo Wright, what's going on? You good now?
Okay, is that better? I switched Wi-Fi's. I have two Wi-Fi's down here. I just switched. Is that better?
It is. It is much better.
Dope. Okay, dope. We're good
Okay.
then.
Well, let's just start out with an intro of who you are and what you're currently doing.
Yes, so I'm Erinn Knight. I'm an artist manager. I also own a label called Build Your Own Dreams, and so we're
Nice.
a digital marketing firm. And but we also do label services. We're kind of the anti-label, so a lot of our artists need label services but don't want to sell their masters or sign over their masters, and so we don't typically take masters. We just do all the services in house, and we take a percentage or we'll lease their masters until they recoup. So I do that, and then I own a booking agency called Invite Only. So we book like emerging artists anywhere from like venue sizes from like 250 to like 2,000 cap venues. So kind of like the smaller market that WME and CAA aren't usually interested in going after. So yeah, the three of those: marketing, booking, and then the label side as well as the artist manager side.
Nice. Nice. How long have you been managing artists?
Since 2011.
Okay.
It'll be 10 years this year. Yeah, yeah. In September it'll be 10 years for me.
And why in the hell do you want, or have you been married? What got you into it? And there's a lot of questions I have. Obviously, if you know my story, I'm a jaded artist manager. Well, I don't manage music artists anymore. So I don't mean to come off negative, but what made you get into artist management in the first place?
Um, I just like with almost everything in my life, I like discover something that I'm interested in and I start giving information and then people are like, you should do this thing. So I
Mm.
just had some friends who were like playing rock music. Like I loved their band. I went to one show and then the second show I went to, they were like raffling off Falcons tickets. And I was like, why are you raffling Falcons tickets? And they're like, oh, we're trying to pay for merch. And I was like, well, if you form an LLC and then you write off your instruments and your gas to and from practice, whatever, your tax return will give you enough money to pay for merch so you don't have to pander to your crowd. And the lead singer was like, yo, give me your phone number. And then from there on, it turned into management. We did Warped Tour. We did a lot of like cool stuff. And then I took a year off. I got into film and then I got into hip hop management. But I am also very much a jaded artist manager. I get asked daily, will you manage me? And I'm like, no, like I'm trying to get out of management. I've been like working on that for like a year, building teams around my artists so that I'm not doing management anymore. So yeah, I hate it. So blessings to anybody who loves it. It's just not for me anymore.
Let's talk about that, because it sounds similar, like, because to being an artist manager, I felt like I never sought out to be an artist manager. I just felt like I had the skill set to do it. And it sounded like what you just talked about. You just kind of put some business principles. If you have some common sense and you're organized, you're hardworking, and you manage relationships well, you build relationships well, you can probably be an artist manager. So what has gotten you to this point where you don't feel like it's necessarily for you, and that's why you're probably doing all of these other things? Like, what are some of the things that you've experienced?
Like my output doesn't match what I'm making, so and that's across the board. But I just know on a traditional business sense, with all the skills that I have, I could be making and negotiating for a ton more. And the artist management game is such a patience game. And now all of my artists are full-time artists. So it's like I have people making on average anywhere between $30,000 and like $200,000, like the artists that I manage. But at 15 to 20%. And then especially once you get up into the 100K plus, you need to have a team. So I'm dispersing that between my team, my assistant, my business partner, who's doing a lot of the digital and back end. I'm walking out the door with no money because I had to help build the artist to this level. And so I'm realizing even on the label side, I get why labels keep masters. I think it's ridiculous and predatory. But if you're not creative, it gets really difficult for you to make a reasonable income. So I just kept adding things. And I'm like, what I need to start doing is taking away and just focusing on the things that make me money, which is why I'm big on, like I said, over the last year, I've been building the teams around my artists. But yeah, it's like, you're like, even if you have the most sensitive, beautiful, reciprocal artist, you're still going to be working a ton and not getting paid. And then in addition, like I love my artists, but they're humans and they're artists and they're worshiped for their art, for lack of a better word. So it's like you're battling egos every day. And then I have a track record that shows that every time, I'm not perfect, but I'm winning every season, right? And so then it's like every week I'm having to convince my artists to try the things that I'm like bringing to them, and it's like, yo, this work. Every time I bring you something, it works. So like there should be more trust here, but I'm like trying to convince you to believe that I'm worth it while I have a line of people out down the hall, you know what I'm saying, wanting to work with me. And it's like, I don't have to convince them. So like, even like recognizing how much I can make off of consulting. Like I make more consulting about 25 to 30 hours a month than I do working like 80 hours a week with my artists. You know what I'm saying? And so like, when you start really looking at the dollars and cents, it's like, man, does this really make sense for my life right now?
Yeah, no, I can, completely relate to everything you just said. Like being an artist manager is a very tough, time consuming,
Yes.
often very thankless job. And, the artists don't really see everything that goes, and they're not supposed to see everything that goes into it, all the time. But there's a ridiculous amount of work. And sometimes, the pie just isn't big enough.
Right.
For you to make sense, unless you just really love the artist, you love the work. Artist managers I know are very smart people. They can do a lot of other things. So when they're like, okay, am I going to put this 80 hours in working with this artist to try to get them up and running? Or can I start a business? Or can I do, you can do so many other things and make a lot more than that 15 to 20%. So it's a tough decision to make. And then if you have to deal with some bullshit on top of that, then it's like, yo,
Listen,
I already got one foot out the door. Now you hit me with the bullshit.
yeah.
Like,
And I'm a Black woman, so people give me a ton more bullshit. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like,
I want to dive into this. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it now since you brought it up. Because I mean,
yeah,
I know a few women that are in artist management, but there's not a lot from what I've seen. Right? I don't know what the ratio is, but I would say maybe like 80-20, if that, 90-10,
right.
something like that. So let's talk about some of those unique challenges being a woman and being a Black woman in this space. You know, what are some of those experiences, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, so everybody loves to say like support Black women, protect Black women, take care of Black women, but like even if you just look at the statistical makeup of America, not a ton of people are in regular community with Black women, right? So then it's like when you step into a room and you're having to fight for your voice, not only do I have to fight, then I have to show you that I shouldn't be fighting. You know what I'm saying? And so like I own like my supply chain. I own a label, I own a booking agency, and I own a management firm. So I thought that being able to build my own house, build my own rooms, build my own table, I would just invite people in and not have that issue. And especially this year, I've had to have so many conversations, and it's like really destructive to your mental health, to be honest. Like, and it's difficult. And I'm a single childless woman, so I have time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have time. I'm devoted. I really want to get in there, but a ton of times I'm kind of like trying to decide if like it's worth me fighting for my value all the time. I think that a lot of people don't really recognize all the microaggressions that they give to women because they're just not called out on it. And a lot of women are just happy to be in the room. I'm not. I created the room. You should be happy that you're here with me. And then even if I don't create the room, I'm walking into the room with a nuanced thought process and a ton of years of experience. So I'm valuable. And at the very least, you should meet me with baseline respect. But I've gone so many places where people like I'll introduce like my business partner or a homeboy, and they'll start talking to that person, and I'm like, okay, like and they won't regard me, they won't speak to me, and it's like I don't want to be treated higher. Like just treat me like you're treating everybody else. But it's super rare. Even in rock music, that was really hard. Working in rock music, I was a Black female manager. Working with rock bands was terrible. And then moving into the hip hop world, I thought it would get easier, but it's not. You got to think of like, there's a ton of like, I'm not saying this is everybody, but there's a ton of misogynistic viewpoints that come from the hip hop space, right? So then it's the thing is, if you look at like the most successful hip hop artists have a woman behind them. Future, 21 Savage, Lil Yachty, like literally like almost every one of the guys on top have a woman behind them. And most of the time she is their manager or like a pivotal part of their management team. But then like the output is all these other things. So I don't know. It's hard. You're having to fight cultural norms. You're having to fight against people's just misunderstanding and they just don't know. Like I'm not blaming everybody because you don't know what you don't know. You don't even realize that you are misogynist, like have a misogynistic worldview because it's been shaped for so long in that way. But it's like once that thing is presented, if you're resenting it or if you're defensive about it, you know what I'm saying? It's like I'm sitting from the place that I'm disadvantaged so I can speak the best into this. But a lot of times people don't want to listen. So it's difficult, even getting paid. Like, I don't know. It's difficult to get paid properly. Even like talking about percentages, like you said, the 15 to 20%, I just decided that I'm doing all 50-50 deals, right? I think the bullshit concept of 15% or 20% to a manager came from the archaic like thought process that an artist gets signed, then a label does all the work, and the manager is there just to hold their hand and make sure it gets done. In the new age of management, the manager is doing everything: artist development, creating resources, funding, and steamrolling almost everything. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like the artist is maybe, and I'm being generous in saying this, maybe doing 50% of the work. And artists see it. They're like, well, I had to record for years and I had to learn how to do this, this, and this. It's like quite literally, I can throw a rock. I live in Atlanta and hit 50 artists who know how to write, record, whatever. That's not the anomaly. The anomaly is finding a good business person who won't screw you over and has the relationships that will benefit you. So to me, it's not equitable anymore to do 15 to 20% when if you did not have me, would you be this valuable? That's the question. If I walked away today, would your money drastically decline? In fact, how much money have you made off of negotiations that I've just brought to the table in the last year? I started looking at that. We've been doing a lot of brand partnerships, and just in the last month, I've negotiated like $28,000 worth of brand partnerships. And I'm like, why the hell am I getting 15 to 20% of that? Like, these were not things, like, you didn't have to do anything but have an Instagram. You know what I'm saying? And we're talking, my team is going through strategy, all of this every day, all day. And this is not a shot to any of my artists at all. Like, I love them, but it's like, I had to get really serious about the value that I'm bringing into every situation that I walk in, because it's a mindset shift. Like, once my mind was like, oh, I'm responsible for a massive impact on all of this. You know, I'm answering all the emails from fans. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, the strategy points, like, the artists are doing a lot, but they're not doing what I'm doing. And I have to see that, you know?
Right. No, I love this. I think you should take over the MEC because you basically just preaching right now. I don't have to say anything. I mean, I want artists to hear this perspective. I mean, at the end of the day, it takes just a shitload of work from everybody, like, to make it work. And that 15 to 20%, I think it does need to be challenged in a lot of instances, depending on the artist, depending on the role you're playing and the value that you add to the team. You know, I don't think we should look at any percentage as just, okay, the industry tells us it's 15, so, you know, it's 15. There's so many different ways in which people are pursuing music these days. It's definitely drastically different than, you know, 15 years ago. So I agree with you 100%. What I was about to say. So you have the label. You say you have the booking agency. So does an artist like sign up for all of these things? Like, do some artists? Because I know that sometimes when you have these different services, you know, people on the outside looking in can, you know, maybe say that there's a conflict of interest. How do you prevent double dipping? Like, how do you does an artist take advantage of all these services, or is it kind of one of, or how does that work if an artist wants to be all in with you and you know, get the full package?
Right. So I started the management first, and then the booking was the second thing, and then the label is the third. And so now all of my artists that I manage at least are working with either my label on the marketing side or with my booking agency, and a few of them are all three. So the way that I get around the legal implications of that is, like, I have business partners and it's set up as a different entity. So it's not, they're signed to Erinn Knight and then booked by Erinn Knight and then, you know, on Erinn Knight's label. It's like all separate entities. And then the disclosure portion of it is I have to let them know and they have to opt into it. So that's like, my lawyer made sure that we were set up well. It's like, there has to be a disclosure. But for instance, with my artists on the booking side, if my company books them a gig, and we just take the percentage there, I won't take a management fee. And then on the label side as well, like, if we do, like, a lot of the things that they're doing right now is either merch or brand partnerships, because we have a full merchandising and fulfillment company now under the label head. And so on the merch side, I just get the merch portion from the label side. I don't take it as a manager, but that's just me. I could. But right. I'm just like, I'm not trying to like eat everything. But the thing is, if they were to separate all these services out, they would be taking home less than if they were to go through me. So it's like really up to you. You can do it if you want, but also they can text me, they can call me, they can pull up at my house. You don't know who's doing your merch in Seattle, South Florida, wherever, you know. And then most of my artists came from WME, and WME doesn't really negotiate deals for like up and coming artists. If somebody's like, hey, we want to book you for 2,500, no flights, then WME is just like, bet. They say yes, and then they send the show details to us. They don't advance show shows or anything. So what I do is I go and I negotiate. I'm like, yo, we were just in this region 6 months ago. We sold this many tickets. I could do the show myself and make double this. So I need you to come up at least another 1,000, plus we need flights. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I have all the data. WME couldn't give a fuck about $2,500. You know what I'm saying? But that's like an additional $1,000 for one of my up and coming artists is a major play. But it's because I also toured with all of my artists. I put them on the road in Atlanta. I'm a promoter. I throw shows for fun here, so I don't really put that on my resume, but a lot of people know me for that. So it's like, I'm in the number 1A market for hip hop in Atlanta. And so if I'm like, well, I can do a show here and I can trade a show with somebody in LA and Chicago, whatever, WME doesn't see any of that. So they don't care. But then when I'm like, no, we were just in Chicago and we sold 400 tickets, a $2,500 guarantee doesn't work for me because we sold 400 tickets at $25 a head, you know? And so then I just so I know all the numbers, I know the stats, I know the data, and then people like me. So I can negotiate deals really well because likability is such a major proponent in like negotiating well, you know? And so, so like you can stick with the other people and give them that percent, but I'm going to do more for the same percent, which is also part of my issue is like, I'm doing way more for the same percent. And then I have a whole team that I'm, you know, paying whatever. So I'm currently trying to figure out my next pivot to make it make sense for me. But yeah. I think it can get a little bit sticky, but most of my people know like how honest I am and everything's on paper. Everything's in Shopify. You know what I'm saying? Like they get monthly reports. There's no funny business here. Like if I was motivated by money, I would have screwed a lot more people over and been a lot richer. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, I mean, so you know, when I ran a label, I was a manager and a label, so I feel like as long as everything is transparent, you know, everybody knows what's going on. Everybody's, you know, it has agreed to it. I don't. To me, involving more people, sometimes not even just from not only would artists make less money, but a lot of times it's just too time consuming and just dealing with people that aren't on the same page, or, you know, you get another manager's involved and they're, you know, might just be trying to prove themselves or like prove their value. So they're just trying to throw, you know, sticks in the spokes and just slow everything up. So I'd much rather keep the team small so we can keep, you know, being efficient and making progress. So I want to go back because I know we didn't touch on it. I don't know if you have any more examples, because I think the fellas need to hear, you know, more experiences so they can, because I feel like that's the only way that they can be more mindful of, you know, when women are present, you know, to make sure that they're being respectful, because like you said, it's so ingrained in our society. You know, I think I don't want to put pressure on you because it's not really your responsibility, but if you are willing to share maybe other examples or advice for the fellas in this industry, you know, to be more mindful of respecting women and giving them their space, and you know, obviously you're super talented, super smart, you're doing a shitload of things. You know, people need to treat you with respect. So are there any other like examples or advice that you do have for the fellas?
Yeah, I think like listening more, and not just saying you're listening, but genuinely listening. I think a lot of times when I'm talking to guys, they're unsure. And I'm talking about like my guys, the guys that I'm like managing. I manage one woman, and then everybody else on the booking agency, everything that I work with is just guys. And so I think a lot of times something that really is a hang up for me is like, I've built rapport with these people, but they want to go get like a second and third opinion, which is fine. It's okay to get a second and third opinion, but don't come back to the person who has a track record with somebody who has no track record's opinion. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think I catch that all the time. I'm like, so then why did you listen to this guy? Like, why do you feel like his voice is more, you know? And they're like, well, da-da-da said this. It's like, okay, and I'm saying this. Like, and I think sometimes it becomes like a pissing battle, or like I'll tell guys like, no, I don't really work with this dude or that guy because he's not respectful. He tries to do this, this, and that. And everybody's like, nah, that's my bro. He wouldn't be like that. And I tell people all the time, men treat me exactly how they treat people. They treat you like they want you to see them, you know, because like if you're a celebrity, if you're an artist, if you make money, it benefits them for them to look nice and kind and cordial and awesome. But they treat me how they really feel. You know what I'm saying? Especially like, I think now I have a little bit more notoriety, at least in the spaces that I work and in the scenes that I work in. But a lot of times before people knew who I was, they'll treat me a certain type of way. And then like when they see, like I've like shut down so many deals just this year alone from people who are like, hey, what do you think about this artist? Or what do you think about that guy? I'm like, nah, he's disrespectful. He tried to sun me, like whatever. Like, and they're like, oh no, he's not like that. And I'm like, here's what they did. Here's why I felt this way. Here's the way that, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I shouldn't have to like prove to you that I'm being disrespected. Like you should believe it. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not just out here just saying stuff for people. I want people to win. I want artists to win. I want men to win. You know what I'm saying? Like I want women to, I want people to win. This is not me trying to bring anybody down. But what I won't do, the issue with our industry is that people, again, women are just happy to be in the room because they have no power. And men are happy to get into the room however it comes, right? Like, and I'm not saying that it's always exclusive to men and women, but in this industry, a lot of women don't have the opportunity, so they're just trying to get in. They won't say anything. So there's no level of accountability. If your bro's an asshole, as long as he's not an asshole to you, or if he's terrible, or if he's shisty, or if he's weird with money, as long as it doesn't happen to you, you cover for it. Or you're like, yo, it couldn't be that bad. It's not that bad. And so what I'm doing now that I have this space and the opportunity is I'm like, no, I'm not working with that person. I'm not adding them to a platform. I don't give a damn how many subscribers they have. I don't care how cool they are. You know what I'm saying? This is like, you know, Scotty, but this is a conversation I have with Scotty all the time. I'm like, I don't care who it is. And I'm talking about, I've had to turn down some like, people would be surprised, people that I'm saying no to because I've dealt with them or their team. And I'm like, I don't care. My self-respect, my mental health is way more than just saying yes to this celebrity so that they can dog me out behind closed doors. And then everybody applaud me and I'm crying. Like literally, I'm like at home crying. Like this person doesn't care about me as a human being. Why would I own a company that's called Build Your Own Dreams and I'm living in my own version of a nightmare? You know, like it's not worth that for me. And so I'm very big on like calling people out, and not even so much like, I'm not trying to be like the whistleblower, but what I will do is I'll let you know how you're affecting me if I have that type of relationship. If you don't want to step up and act right, then I'll back up. That's fine. There's again a line down the hallway of people who want to work with me. So like that doesn't bother me. And then if it still looks like, okay, this could be a good working relationship, then we'll just leave it at work. I don't have to communicate with you any other time. You can hit me between operating hours. I'll get this deal done. If somebody asks how you are, I'm going to be honest about it. Hey, I had to get my bag, but this dude is an asshole. Like I'm not working with him again, you know? So I think accountability is something that is majorly lacking. If a woman tells you that a guy is treating her differently, you have to see it through her perspective. Like it's more detrimental for me to report a guy who's not treating me right? Because especially a guy who's like high ranking, it's way more detrimental to me because now I can't work with him. And now I have other people looking at me like, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? Women aren't just reporting things about guys just because we want to put it out there. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't benefit in any way. So if a guy hears a woman saying, hey, your bro is doing this, or he's creepy, or he's trying to push up on me, do you know what I'm saying? Like I've had everything from like weird sexual stuff to just disrespect in business from top to bottom. And it's like, if a woman is speaking, listen, you know what I'm saying? And that's across the board. That's good, bad, or ugly. If a woman is speaking, listen.
Has there ever been an issue? Like obviously, you know, with your deals, like for your business, you know, you can manage it however you want. Has an artist ever been upset because you didn't want to proceed with working with somebody because they thought it would have been good for them, but it was bad for you personally? Has that ever been a conflict, and how do you resolve that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this summer I was going through that a ton. I was being harassed by a promoter, and a lot of my guys on the booking agency were like, yo, we want to work with him. And I'm like, I'm not working with this dude anymore. And they were like, okay. So I get hit like a couple weeks later, like, hey, we know you don't want to work with him, so we're just going to do the deal on the side. And stuff like that enrages me because it's like, yo, the reason that you're in the position to be desirable to this person is because of the work that I've been doing for years. If I have your back like your family, I need you to have my back that way. I'm such a big loyalty person. So like, it's not even a matter of like, for one, I think it makes a statement when everybody withdraws, like, especially in the my area of the scene. I have a lot of influence. So if the people that are around me step back from something, it makes a huge statement, right? Because I'm working with some of the like major people on the independent side that people are looking at, right? And so I had to start learning how to say things in a way that people can consume them, even though I would prefer just to be a human. But I was like, yo, can I talk to y'all? Like, let's get on the phone. I was on vacation too. And so we set a time to talk, and I didn't want to be doing it, but I'm like, hey, what is your thought process behind this? Why do you want to do this? Come to find out, fortunately, I didn't blow up on the guy. The promoter had basically lied to him and said that we were cool again, whatever. I'm like, this is what he's been doing. Like, here's screenshots of the way he's been hitting me up over the last like month. Like, here's what he did last week. Here's what he did yesterday, you know? And I was like, I don't want you working with him, because like seeing you on his stage just feels like an assault on me. Do you know what I'm saying? It feels like still like further harassment. Like, he was able to get exactly what he wanted without working with me. Do you know what I'm saying? And so like stuff like that, I think I have to have like real conversations like, yo, do you understand that this makes me feel exposed and unprotected, that you would rather take a one-time deal than to rock with your manager, your booking agents, you know, the person who's really got your back. This is one deal. It's like, if you need this little, and he was paying them like not even a quarter of their booking rate. It was like he was trying to come in on the homie thing. So I'm like, if you want another gig, I can make a call tomorrow and we can figure this out, but don't do this. So I think I have to have a lot of those conversations, unfortunately.
Yeah, so I mean, you gotta have. I mean, I'm a big loyalty person too. I mean, you gotta have people that you trust, where there's mutual respect. There's a lot of opportunities out here. So you don't have to do any one thing. Like there's a million other opportunities that you can create, or that just are already out there existing. So yeah. So to the fellas, you know, one, believe women. Two, I would encourage you to just like observe better when you're in a room. Like observe like eye contact, observe like gestures, you know, how people tone, like you have to just become more aware. You just have to have a heightened sense of emotional intelligence. Be aware of yourself and be aware of others, because your experience may not be a shared experience with women. Well, it's not. It's the fact that
Right.
it's not. So just be more mindful, you know, and you probably can catch some of these things that, you know, that she might tell you later on. Okay, cool. So I know, obviously I know Scotty. I've known Scotty for a few years. I think he toured with us. I think he toured with Jaren. How long have you been working with Scotty ATL? So Scotty ATL, super dope artist. Is he from Atlanta? He's
He
from
is.
Atlanta. Of course,
He's
it's
from the
Scotty.
East.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's from where Jaren's from, I think.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Decatur, huh? Or Latvia?
Yeah. Jaren's always saying East Side, so I'm assuming in the same
Yeah.
place. So Scotty he's a dope artist, but recently, like his grills have been blown up. Like he's been selling grills for a minute. He sold me one early days. This was probably like 2015, which I don't know if that's early days for his company, but it was. When did he start
It
his
was.
company?
That was at the beginning. He's been trapping grills out his car probably on and off again since like 2015, 2016.
Okay. So do you also help with the business, his grills business, or does he separate the artist from the grills business?
Yeah, so that's actually what I'm really interested in with all of my artists, becoming brand managers for their separate business. So like, I feel like music is no longer a money maker, it's just a marketing tool. And so when you have something else that somebody can gravitate to your brand, it just makes it so much easier. So all of my artists, if they don't already have like a separate brand or something that they're putting their energy into, that's like what we've been working on building, and almost all of them are there. But yeah, so I operate as the brand manager for his Build Your Own Dreams is the brand manager for his grill company. So we do all of the back end on the like his website. Like we got him into selling online and shipping mold kits around the US. He also has like a wholesale company where you can come in and say like, hey, I want to sell grills in my city. And so we run all of his wholesaling websites. We do all of his like sales funnels. So like email, text, all of that. And then a lot of brand strategy. So we do calls every week about like different things that he can do, like events in the shop, celebrity reach out, like how we can like catapult like celebrity things into like even down to like Instagram captions and like Instagram series. We started a web series called Trapping Gold that's about him like, you know, trapping, like it's the name of his album that just dropped, but it's also about like the lifestyle that he's living. So yeah, we do all of that.
Super dope. So, and hopefully we're going to talk about this in more detail because we're supposed to have Scotty on the MEC next week.
Yeah.
That happens. So we'll dive deeper into the details because I think you're right. I mean, I think music can still make money, but you're right in the sense that it can spark so many other businesses and be marketing promotion for, you know, more lucrative businesses. So if you have ideas that, especially if it kind of fits into your brand, which Scotty has done a very good job, you know, as Erinn just mentioned, the title of his album, Trapping Gold, like he incorporates the grills business into his music and just his whole story and messaging, and it's done really well. And he's been super successful with the grills, at least from the outside looking in. It looked like Issa Rae bought a grill, Tory Lanez bought a grill. A bunch of the celebrities are starting to catch on, and he has a shop now in LA, I believe, right?
Yep. So we're right on Melrose. So it's super dope. Right on Melrose across from Fairfax High School. So it's off of Melrose and Fairfax.
Nice. And then you have another artist. Is it What Up RG? Is it just RG?
So we call him RG. I call him Raul, which is his first name. But yeah, everybody calls him RG. But
I think I froze. Am I frozen too? Let me know. I think she froze for a second. Let me know in the chat if I'm frozen too. Can you hear me now? You're not.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back. Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Sorry about that.
So yeah, I actually saw him in concert here in LA because I went to see Paris Shariz, who was on. He opened for him.
Oh, you were at the St. Holy tour?
Yeah.
No, in that hot photo studio 2 summers ago. Damn. Okay, so that was the tour that started my booking agency because I booked that tour, I tour managed, and then so I was just booking the tour for RG, and then after that tour, I started managing him. But like, yeah, that's crazy. That's the reason that we started the booking agency.
Dope. Yeah, because Paris is my guy. We were because I work with Foundation, and I was working with him through Foundation, and I pulled up to the show. He has an RG
agency too, so he's on invite only.
Oh, nice. It's a small world. I'm telling you, like once you start meeting good people in this industry, it's very small. Like good people know good people, so it's gonna be, it's gonna be a tight connection. But RG has a shitload of fans, and he has a loyal fan base. He's a Christian hip hop artist, right? He would consider himself. Okay, but he had that place packed. It was dope to see. I was unfamiliar with him prior to going to that show. But I always, artists these days, I mean, it's not a surprise that, you can have pockets of fans that nobody knows about. And then you're like, who's this guy? Then you go to that. We were like that. A lot of people didn't know who we were. And then they came to the show and was like, where do all these people come from?
Yeah.
So yeah. So how's he doing? How's he done since? What's he currently working on?
So he took honestly like the whole year of 2020 off trying to just like get his mind right and figure things out. So he has a really dope project called New Hollywood that's supposed to drop who knows when, but the anticipation is crazy. Like we just randomly did a merch drop and we sold like a crazy amount of merch in 1 week. And we were like, damn, your fans are still like really excited about everything. So he's doing really good. He's got a lot of really cool things that are about to pop off. He just did a really cool brand deal. So people are going to start seeing that on the internet really soon. So yeah, new music soon, but he's really on the merch game now. He's like really, he's a designer too. So he like, he's phenomenal at designing and like creating like videos and visuals. And so that's what we're really focused on right now. But yeah, he's just a dope artist too.
Okay. So you may not be hands-on with the artist management for much longer, but you're still going to have your company, right? So you're
Oh, for
still looking for artists. So how, if an artist was trying to get your guys' attention, how do they end up on the radar?
That's a hard question. I think most of the people that I work with is very much like relationship based. And so every artist I've ever managed outside of Scotty, I've been like, we'll kind of walk together for at least a year before I officially start managing them. I'll kind of put some feelers out. Like I try to make everybody money before I ask them to be their manager or before I say yes to them asking me. Cause I have a ton of people who are like, yo, yo, yo. And I'm like, if it's not going to make money, it doesn't make sense for me. You know what I'm saying? And not that it's only about money, but the amount of energy and time that I put in. So I would say one, you got to get on my radar and just be like a decent human being. You know, like I think a lot of people are like, I had my show on or I had my song on ESPN and I did this and this and this. And it's like, yes, it's got to make sense money wise, but I'm very much a relational person. I'm super emotional. I want to feel safe in relationships. So I make all of my business relationships are emotional decisions. So like some people are like, nah, take the emotion out of business to a degree. When we're getting shit done, it's got to get done. But I have to love doing it and I have to be passionate about doing that. And that's directly connected to my heart. So that's one thing. So like, but on the business side, my business partner Brandon, he thinks way differently than that. He's kind of like, does it make sense? So you got to come with both. Like I have to like you as a human. Brandon does too, but he has a higher tolerance for people. He's like, okay, they're cool, but whatever. So I have to like you, and then it's got to make dollars and cents, and then you got to know what you want and what you need. A lot of artists are just like, yo, help me out, help me out, help me out. I don't want to help anybody out. That's what like help yourself out. You know what I'm saying? If you are helping yourself, it's gonna help me and I'm gonna help you. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't want anybody coming with their hand out. I don't want anybody like telling me like these pump fake accolades either. Like I opened up for Jaron Benton, which is dope, but it's like what does that translate to? If you can say I have 100 super fans that are willing to spend $100 on me a year, here's how I tested it, here's where I kept the data, then I'm like, oh, you get it. Like I need somebody who's locked in business wise. If you're just trying to be an artist and sign to a manager or a company that's going to accelerate you, it doesn't work. You have to be fully bought in on the business. You got to know the analytics. You got to talk through this stuff with us. Like all of my artists have a weekly 2-hour meeting with the team. All of it, like not the booking side, but on the label side and the management side, it's like we're talking consistently because the world is changing. Like we have with a couple of our artists right now, we have like brand deals with Instagram, right? Instagram doesn't call them brand deals, but they're like, we got brand deals with Instagram. And it's like Instagram right now is changing their algorithm every 6 weeks. Do you know what I'm saying? Like they announced that they're no longer a photo app. They're a video app now, right? If you don't pick up the phone or if you're like, I'm just in the stew for 2 months, you're missing major data points. And the reason that matters is because like I've been able to get more brand deals because I can corral the algorithm in the favor of my artists now. So like I'm taking that intel, sending it to everybody else. So it's like brand deals now are just like boom, 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 boom. But if you don't pick up the phone or if you just want to be an artist or if you want to sleep till 5 p.m. and then try to call me at midnight, like I'm up, but we're not about to be talking strategy at midnight. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so I think that one, you have to have value and know what your value is. I think a lot of people are like, man, I'm ready to work. I don't care about that. Hard work, I read this recently, hard work is too low of a barrier of entry for it to matter. Like anybody can work hard, right? Like success is the anomaly. So I need you to be an anomaly, but I need you to know what that is. If I can tell you what I can do, I need you to tell me what you can do. Being an artist doesn't matter. I live in Atlanta. I know homeless people who can shit on most of internet rappers. And I'm not even joking. Like like
Right.
dead ass. Like, so like talent, like what is talent? You know, like I used to play basketball growing up and my coach was like, talent doesn't matter. Like talent just equals potential, right? So it's like knowing what you have, exploiting that. Like if I'm trying to be a power forward, if I'm trying to, play the five, but I'm 5'5", like me, like I'm misusing my talent. I could be a point guard. I should just be developing my dribbling skills and learning the game, right? The best players are the ones with experience, not talent, right? Like that's why everybody feels like LeBron and them are going to win this year, even though they're going to be ice bathing it up, but they have experience. Their head is in the right place. So that's what, as an artist, your head has to be in the right place. And I need you to tell me what you have. Like it's not a negotiation. At this point, I'm holding the value,
Right. So you're starting to cut out a little bit, but I'm loving everything you are saying. I'm just so I mean, too, just keep you should probably take over some of these sessions for the next, couple weeks or so. Because I pretty much agree with everything, even the Lakers comment. Hopefully they do win this year. A lot of people hating though, so I don't know if a lot of people picking the Nets. But anyway, do you have to like the
Am I
music?
back? Can you hear me now? I just want to make sure. If not, I'll switch back to the other
You
Wi-Fi.
good?
Okay, cool.
You good? Yeah. Do you have to like the music? Because I debate this
Yeah.
with managers too. Because I don't have to like the music. For me, I have to see potential in the music, and I have to love the person. But I don't have to personally like the music. But how do you feel about it?
So I don't have to love every song, but if I don't like your sound, then I can't see where it's going, right? You know what I'm saying? It's like I have to understand it because I'm a marketer at heart. That's like that's why I'm so good as a manager. Like I'm really into like developing people, and then I'm really into developing plans, like marketing plans. So if I don't get it and if I don't like it, I can't market it. So I don't have to love
You can
everything.
you can get it and not like it, right?
Not for me. Like when I say get it, like sometimes if I get it but I don't like it, then I like it because it's marketable. Do you know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
okay. So
But
I
for
think
me,
no,
go
I was
ahead.
gonna say, it sounds like we're kind of saying the same thing then, because you
Yeah,
like it if you. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on a second.
you good.
So yeah, so you have the music. I just have to see potential in the music, and you're saying if you get the music, then you like it, not necessarily because it's your style of music that you listen to on the daily.
I don't know. Like I sit with albums for like months and just listen to that. If I can't ride to your shit, I'm not, no. Like even with Wande though, the woman that I managed, like when she first was like, she was a fan of Caleb, another one of my artists. That's how she got on my radar. And she was just a hustler. I was just seeing her all over, but I didn't like her music at all. But 2 years later, she had leveled up so much. I'm like, I still am not fully sold on this, but she's gotten exponentially better. And by the time I started officially managing her, it was when she was in her first official album cycle with the label that she signed to. And I was like, yo, like, yeah, she's like incredible. So I need to be able to ride to your music. I want to be able to post about it and not be like, can you listen to my, like, no, I gotta be proud of it, like I'm like that, like with like anybody. If somebody's like, oh, do you like this? If it's my homie, if I don't like it, I'm not gonna lie. So I can't do that to my artists because they ask for my opinion all the time.
Right. I got you. Okay, cool. So I wanna be able to take some questions from the audience. I know I've hogged most of the time. But if you have any questions, no matter what platform you're on, whether it's Periscope, Twitch, Facebook, or YouTube, you can type your questions in the comments. I saw a couple of comments earlier. There's probably a ton of comments now. I don't want
Yo,
to.
I just saw that. I wasn't even looking at the comments. Wow. Like I had the private chat on. This is dope. Y'all are super fire.
Somebody's spamming it with some Payoneer and TransferWise BS, but Blader Beats needs to get out of here. I could scroll up, but if you asked a question, go ahead and ask it again because there's too many comments and I don't want to go back up. And this dude needs to be, I don't know if I can kick some. Yeah, I can block.
I'm gonna answer a few of them. I'm based in Atlanta. Cloud9 asked if I could come back for another part. So Dame, that's on you. Let me know.
You can take over the every. No. I mean, I enjoy doing the MEC. It's really just it's a passion project, and I think people get a lot of value out of it. But I am gonna be looking for, not to put you on the spot, and it's not asking you right now, but like I would like more help, doing this, because I know you have a shitload of stuff going on. So do I. It's hard to kind of keep the podcast, keep the sessions going every week. So I'm eventually actually going to bring just to help. But anyway, what else? What about
I'm open. I'm gonna say this. I'm open. I don't know how often I can, but I could be like a guest once a month or something and run it for you. We can
Yes.
talk about it. Let me
Okay.
know.
Yeah. Okay. No, even as you were talking, I was like, man, I'm trying to get out of music, but I gotta find a way to work with Erinn because she seems dope and she seems like she knows what she's talking about. So I'm gonna be
Thank
thinking.
you.
I'm gonna be thinking. I still do a 1 week notice project. I'm not sure if you know about that.
Yeah. No, I follow all the stuff that you do for sure.
Yeah, so I still do we're gonna figure it out eventually. See, I told you some of these sessions are selfish. Some of these are just for me, or not just for me, but you guys get value out of it too. But I'm connecting with dope people too. So let's see. Have you touched NFTs at all? Jonathan wants to know if you guys have dove into that or have any experience.
So my old roommates, they're super into NFTs. They're a married couple now, but they're like, he's like, you could do this, this, and this, and she's like, well, you got to look into this. So for one of our artists that charted, we had an artist, a collective chart on Billboard this year, like not out of the blue. We were really pushing for it, but we ended up charting multiple times and it was crazy. So we're working on doing an NFT for them for Christmas because the album charted in May or June, and then we did a festival for them. So I feel like we got to kind of keep it going. So I'm trying to dive into that, but my thing is, that's something that I don't get. Like, I get it, but I don't understand the application and the purpose. I'm somebody who doesn't believe in like unnecessary consumption. I'm like trying to be a minimalist, so I feel like to a degree, if I'm not providing value to people, if I'm just capitalizing on something that society says is worthwhile, then I just kind of feel like I'm bending with the system. I want to create systems. I don't want to just flow with them. So NFTs are cool. I respect people who are doing crazy with them. I just don't really get the real world application. Like, how is this genuinely going to enhance somebody's life and not just feed consumerism?
Dope. We got a lot of questions now. They're pouring in. So let's try to. Are you? If we went a little past one, is that okay? Or you gotta?
Yeah, I'm cool. I like have been taking off and trying to find myself in my pivot lately. So like, nice. This is cool.
Nice. Okay, cool. So we'll do as many as we can. We'll try to get to as many as we can. What's your favorite way to market merch or non-music products and stand out?
So my favorite way to market is by knowing my audience, right? So like there's no one way. So I study a lot of my audiences. Like for instance, with Build Your Own Dreams, we have a t-shirt line because I'm selling a concept. My dream happened to be like a music mogul. And then I realized I didn't want to be that. I wanted to enjoy music and be able to have access to my favorite artists. But like, I'm selling the concept, whatever your dream is. So I have really dove deep into people who are entrepreneurs, artists, whatever. I've dove into the psyche of that. And then that's where I target most of my marketing. And when I say target marketing, a lot of people who are feelers and knowers and dreamers like to talk through things. So I just get on camera, I talk about it. And my highest sales come from when I'm talking to people about what I believe in, not when I'm talking about the shirts, not when I'm talking about anything else, but what do I believe in? And that's inspirational and aspirational. Then people get the notion and then they buy the shirt, right? For RG, he's a Mexican-American artist whose father was deported when he was 16. So I look at a lot of immigrants. I look at a lot of people who are interested in like the civil rights of Mexican American people. We just dropped a shirt that said Un día a la vez, which is one day at a time, which is a like well-known song, but also saying like a Mexican proverb, if you will. So I started looking at like the Mexican diaspora across the US. What do they like? Who are they listening to? And then that's where we target stuff. So it's like good marketing is way more about knowing your audience than what your preference is for how to deliver that message. It's about finding the people who are already looking for your message.
Nice. That great response. And just this conversation with her made me want a shirt. So I'm already on the website. I went to shopbyd.com.
We just sold out of multiple colorways. Literally this morning, I was at our t-shirt shop doing the new colorways. So if you want to wait like a week, we're about to launch the long sleeve joints and a bunch of other stuff. But there's some stuff still up, but I'm down to like a few of these shirts, and I have a couple of orange shirts as well. And then we also like our shirts go to support mental health. So we send artists and creatives to therapy every year. Well, this is our first year. We become 1 year old next month, but a portion of every t-shirt goes to sending the people to therapy. So we have 2 people in therapy right now that are being paid for. So the more shirts we sell, the more artists and creative entrepreneurs that get to go to therapy. So there's also a therapy shirt online too.
Yeah, I see it. I already spun the wheel to get my 5% discount.
Gang.
Now I'm gonna see what y'all guys. I want to do it now while it's top of mind. I'll do it right after this session.
Dope. I appreciate it.
Nah, I think you're the type of person that could have saved my record label, to be honest. I think one of the biggest mistakes that I made was not having like a number 2 that they would listen to. You know what I'm saying? Like when it was just my voice, you know, it was just me. So not only can you get tired of one voice, but you're probably more susceptible of somebody getting in your ear because it's like he can't know everything. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think having, you know, and it's dope that you have a team, and it's dope that therapy is a top priority, you know, and you understand the importance of that. Because that also might have saved my label. I don't know.
I go every Monday. In fact, I moved my appointment to Thursday just so we could do this today, because normally I'd be in therapy right now. So yeah, it's saved my life because people don't understand the struggle of being like in charge. You know what I'm saying? People are like, oh, your life seems so awesome, so fun. And it's like, man, it's such a struggle to be a visionary. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like we live in space. And in fact, I believe I live in the future of space. So coming back down to earth to translate that for regular people, they're like, well, you should just do this, or why are you doing that? It's like, do you ask astronauts why they wear spacesuits? Do you know what I'm saying? It's like you have no concept of why I need these things because you have no concept of space except for looking up, right? I've been there. Like, in fact, I'm moving the stars around while you're looking up. Like, so I agree with you.
Y'all gotta catch up. Y'all gotta catch up. She's way ahead. Y'all gotta catch up.
It's not even a matter of catching up. It's just like, that's like, bless God, that's the position I got put into. I was born a dreamer, which made me a visionary. And as I continue to hone that, I just get better. But I'm with you. It's super difficult. And then like, I'm blessed too, because my business partner, he's a genius. Like, I'm the like more vocal, people see me, so they think everything is me, but like shit doesn't get done without him. Like he's a genius. His name is Brandon Boone. I just got to put his name out there, but like his mind is just, he's so good with like back end stuff and like, I don't know. He's a genius marketer. He's great at strategy. He's super organized. And then he listens to me when I cry, which is like beautiful. Do you know what I'm saying? Like he's not bothered by the fact that he fully embraces that I'm fully a woman in business. Whereas a lot of times that's another reason that I'm big on therapy. I think I grew up kind of feeling like I had to like contain everything because I'm a woman. I don't want them to think it. No, like I'm a woman. And that's my strength and that's my superpower. So I'm so grateful for him, but sorry, we can get back to questions. I like to tangent.
Shout out to Brandon. You need these different players on the team because everybody has certain strengths. So and it's got to fit. All right, let's get back to how early is too early to have merch.
It's never too early if you can sell it. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't even have to, people don't even have to hear your music before they're interested in buying your merch if you have a good merch design.
Right.
So the question is, are you trying to sell your music and then sell your merch, or are you trying to make money? You know what I'm saying? So if you're okay with just like, hey, you know, and this is something too, it could be such a good mechanism to get your music out there. Like if you have a really fire lyric, right? So like I have tattooed on my arm, Haley Williams is one of my favorite songwriters, but Paramore is also forever one of my favorite bands. It says, it's not faith if you use your eyes, right? So if I were to put that on a shirt and then at the corner just put Paramore, now that becomes merch. If I read that, even if I had, people love this tattoo, even if I had never heard of Paramore, I would like that shirt, right? Because the saying is, it's not faith if you use your eyes. And it's such a like thought provoking thing. So if you can get good merch, don't just put your name on there. If nobody knows you, you're gonna waste your, you know what I'm saying? Like that's like one of my artists, Caleb. I love him to death, but we had to tell him, stop putting your name on merch. Nobody, like, you have 20,000 people on Instagram that follow you. That's great. And then maybe another 50,000 people who are aware of you in the world. You're not selling to those people. And then once you do, that's it. Like put a lyric on there or make a super cool design. So like check your design. Remember, you're a marketer. You know what I'm saying? And music is just an outlet for your marketing, right? So like if you can think of something really phenomenal to put on a shirt, something really beautiful, you know, then again, people don't even know that this is a label. I love my design. I'm trying to show it to y'all. Yeah, build your own dreams. People don't know we're a label. They don't know who I am. I've been shipping stuff all over the world. You know what I'm saying? It's like, because it says build your own dreams, like that's such a rallying call and it's such an empowering thing. So think like that. If you can think about something that people want to see, it's never too soon to sell merch.
And I would say, even if you don't sell it, have it from day one. Let people see it, hashtag it, whatever your messaging is, whatever your brand is, even before you sell it, just start telling your story, because in addition to making money through your merch, you're telling your story, you're selling you, right? You're getting people familiar with you and your messaging. So I would have merch from day one, even if you're not selling it. And then at some point, your fans will tell you when you need to sell it, right? Because you're going to be wearing it so much. So you're going to be wearing it so much that eventually you're going to get a couple comments, be like, yo, where do I get that shirt? Or where do I get that hat? And then you're like, well, then you set up your store and you got some sales right out the gate.
Yep. Unless I'm like doing a fancy panel where I have to be dressed up, I'm never not wearing some of my artist merch. That has been my thing for like the last 10 years. But this year, every time I'm doing an interview or I'm around people, like I'm wearing my own merch. Like I get one of one prints every day, like all the time, just so I can always be in it. And if you're in it, people start to ask questions and it'll, like he said, it'll progress your story.
Yeah, I feel the same way. This right here is a 1 week notice shirt, locked in. I manage comedians now because I think you brought some new people to this chat. So I manage comedians now, and I'm always.
That's gotta be fire.
Yeah,
I gotta ask you about that.
yeah. It's been a lot less stressful, to say the
I was
least.
about to say, because there's a lot less things that you have to manage. And then it's just like, it's just digital strategy and then like booking. This is, wow, that's
Yeah.
genius.
Now we're doing it's more than, we're doing some cool stuff, like all the creativity and that innovation that you're bringing to artists. You're gonna have just as many ideas for comedians once you get them on the roster, and it'll be fun because comedy, laughing is fun. Like, who doesn't want to laugh? The market is so big for people that want to laugh, right?
Yep.
Like, so I would argue that our markets are bigger than an artist that's
Right.
just a hip hop artist or just a country artist or whatever. Like, everybody loves to laugh. Not that every comedian is for everybody, but we have a pretty wide net. So yeah, we could definitely talk about it later. Let's see. We'll do two more, and then I can't keep her on. Maybe she'll have to come back. Let's see. I'm sorry. I know I missed a ton of questions. If you have one that you really want to get answered, you're probably gonna have to type it again. You discussed it.
If you see the Paul Star one though, I want to answer that one. I feel like that's the most. He said, "How do you know when it's time to look for a manager?" So whenever we finish this one,
Okay, we'll do that. We'll do that one next. That's definitely a common question, and would love to get your response on that. So he said, you discussed that artists must know their analytics. Can you please elaborate? A lot of artists don't dive. I don't really know. I mean, I know a few artists that dive into the analytics, but he says, can you elaborate on what an artist must know?
Every artist that I know that dives into their analytics is at least making $30,000 a year off their music. So I think there's a direct correlation between understanding your business and doing it well, right? It's kind of like reading. If you can read well, you'll read more. So analytics, you should know who your fans are. You should on paper, like I used to track this with all of my artists. A critical mass is 1,000 people who are willing to spend $100 on you, right? If you can get 1,000 people to spend $100 on you in a year, after taxes and paying for your team, you'll probably walk home with about $38,000 to $40,000. However, in addition to that 1,000 people who are spending $100 on you, you probably have another 20 who are spending $50 on you. You probably got 75 who are spending $90 on you. You probably have in that range, some of those thousands are spending more than 100 on you. So you really could walk away about $100,000 a year after taxes plus paying your team if you have 1,000 fans willing to spend $100 on you, right? So the first thing that I tell every artist is, how many fans do you have that are willing to spend any money on you? And then if they say they don't know, I'm like, why? Like, if you're trying to be full-time, you should know. You should know their name. You should know the city that they live in. You should be talking to them, right? If you don't have any fans willing to spend money on you, figure out if you're worth spending money on. The issue could be that you don't have merch or something for them to spend money on, but the issue could be that maybe you need to redirect your marketing, or maybe you need to get better at music. Maybe this is just a hobby. So like, that's the first thing. You should write down your fans and how much you think. So if you're like, oh, well, I dropped merch last year, let me look who I sold it to. Okay, I sold it to 40 people. My shirts were $20 a piece. So that's the first thing. Like, how many people do you have growing towards your critical mass? After that, I would look at, like, everybody has Spotify for artists. So I'm not impressed if you know how many people listened to you last month. You should know about your Instagram engagement. So I would be looking at, has your engagement increased over the last year and what percentage, right? Because if I can say my engagement has increased, okay, on these days, my engagement did better. What made that engagement? Oh, I posted a reel. Okay, this was a reel and I was joking. I didn't even mention my music. Okay, people like to see me being funny, right? Because if you look at the numbers, it tells you what you need to see. So that's like, I can't tell you what analytics you should be studying, but you should be looking at tells. Like, every good card player, every good basketball player, anybody who plays sports is looking at people's tells. Like, if he leans to the left, that means he's about to drive right. You know what I'm saying? If they stutter step, you know what I'm saying? So like, you need to be looking at your tells of your audience. You should be knowing who your audience is. What other sites are they on? If you don't know, survey them. DM hey, I noticed that you've been posting about my music. What other places do you like to spend time on? Are you more of a Reddit fan, or are you on Discord, whatever? So like, find your people and go to them. Most of the data that I collect is about my fans. And so now with bigger artists, I don't have to search as hard. I'm just looking at who's emailing me. I'm looking at the comments. I'm checking the city that they're in. When I go on tour with my artists, I'm asking questions. A lot of people, I'm kind of like somewhat of a Pat the manager to some of my other artists. So people will come up to me when they see me now. They're like, yo, Erinn, I didn't know you were going to be here. So I'm asking questions constantly. I'm throwing other events outside of the actual music event to get to know them. So I would say just like data on your fans, data on like the time of year that people like to hear music. If you notice that when you drop songs in the wintertime, they go up more, is it actually the time that you dropped it, or is it the type of music? I think you could be studying everything. Life is about studying. So again, Spotify for artists, or like what your distro kid says is cool, but where do you find your fans? Like, are you in this chat right now? And there's one of your fans is also in here. So does that mean that your fan is a learner and a student? Should you be now looking at other people's websites and pages? Should you be offering music business education? Like, study your fans. I hope that answered your question. But you can DM me a little bit more if you want to ask. I don't open that up to most people. I tell people don't DM me because they waste my time. But it seems like you're trying to ask an insightful question. So yeah.
I mean, if you can get to that level, that would be amazing. I probably can count on one hand the number of artists that do the things. You probably know more, but it's not a very high percentage of artists that are diving in like that.
At all. Not even my artists go that deep. I'm sitting here doing this and telling them, yo, you need to go study your fans.
But hopefully, hopefully artists, because for us, like, to me, it's kind of fun. Like, I'm a data-driven cat. Like, so when I start to see the number, when I start to see the numbers move, I mean, that's what kept me in. That's what kept me going, right? That's what kept me saying, hey, let's continue to do this, because you're in the data, you see it trending upwards. Not once did our numbers ever stop or plateau. I knew that we were just going to continue to open up doors with the numbers eventually. Like, the numbers were going to open up doors. But I got excited by that. Hopefully artists are excited by that progress too. So when you see...
Not even the big numbers. Get excited about the little numbers. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm closing brand deals with, like, some of my artists are pretty big. They got 100,000 or whatever followers, but I'm closing brand deals with people who have 20,000 followers unverified, $15,000 followers unverified, because I can tell engagement rates and I can say, if we do this, and you know what I'm saying? Like, so the small numbers matter too.
Yeah. And not even just numbers. So we spent a lot of time, I spent a lot of time just interacting with early fans, or like in groups, just kind of listening to how, not the number of comments, but what are the types of things they're saying, right? Because some of the fans were like, oh, these guys are my favorite artists ever. Like, so if those are the type of comments we're getting, that also gives me confidence. Like, if these are their favorite artists, like, it's not, oh, I just like them. Like, these are my favorite. Oh, I'm getting a tattoo of this. Like, okay, we're really on to something now. So it's all of that. There was one other question you wanted to answer. You think it was, when should you get a manager? I think that's what.
Paul Star. Okay, let me just say one more thing. I'll say this to the question about asking, like you were saying, I'm looking at the type of questions too. So when I started looking at fans like who constantly commented, I'd click on their page and I would see what they're posting in their story. I'm like, oh, a lot of the fans of this What Up RG post about anime. So then we dropped an anime poster and it went stupid. Do you know what I'm saying? It was just like, we made him into an anime, cost us $200, printed 500 posters, and now it's like literally walking money out the door. So like things like that can really, 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 really get you in a good place if you notice what your fans want and what they need. So yeah. And then when you're attentive, people notice it, and then that creates the cult following. That's how people get obsessed with you, because they feel like you care. It's all about like reciprocity. What can you give to the fans who are giving to you? So yeah, Paul Starr, he said, when do you know it's time to look for a manager? When they're looking for you. Like, you don't need a manager until you have something to manage, right? So if you aren't spending your whole day shipping merch and like answering label emails and like doing back end stuff, it's too soon, right? Like, the moment that you even get close to that, any good manager worth their stuff is going to be looking for you. If you are just biting at the chomp and so want a manager before then, it needs to be one of your homies who's obsessed with you, right? If your homies are not sharing your music without you asking them, it's too soon for you. And if your homie is always sharing your music, just be like, bro, do you want to help me out? Like, I'm trying to take it to the next level. I started out with a rock band, but it was like that. I was obsessed with them. I was just giving them tips. I was helping them out. It was way too soon for them. They weren't even selling merch. They had a few shows here and there, but I came on, I was hungry. I was excited. I wasn't making no bread for like like 4 years, really. We were touring. Occasionally they would cover some of my bills while we were on the road, but I was just like excited about it and I believed in it. So if you have either a homie who's really excited and wants to invest in you, go for it. But that could also, that's going to be like y'all are learning together. You can't have these grandiose expectations of them. But the homie managers to me are the best because they'll learn and they'll grind. And if it's for them, they'll make it. Or people are knocking down your door. If nobody's knocking on your door, if the fans aren't beating your doors down, you don't need a manager yet. Like, what is there to manage? I tell people this all the time. It's like, if you open up a restaurant, you shouldn't be hiring a manager before you have had to work the door, like until you work the register, till you sweep the floor, you're cleaning the bathrooms, you're restocking the shelf. Like, what for? Like, that's such a grandiose thought process to be like, I just opened my first business, I'm gonna hire somebody to manage it. Like, eventually when you're like, oh, I can't be up all day, I got so many customers, whatever, then you hire a manager. Now you know what to expect from them. A lot of times people get in bad management deals because they don't even know what to expect from a manager. They don't know how to check behind them. They don't know how to ask the right questions. You're just starstruck because you've seen them do something with somebody else. But a lot of these big managers just got lucky. Like, there's a lot of dumbass big managers, like a ton of them. And I'm telling you, like, I've had some, like, y'all wouldn't believe some of the managers who have tried to come in and co-manage my artists, but that's what a lot of big managers, they had some bread, they steamrolled somebody or they got lucky, and then they just hop in on other management deals. They push out the little manager or they keep them, but they're the celebrity manager, so everybody's seeing the success and they're crediting it to the big manager, but it's really the little manager. But like, no, like, don't get caught up in that. If you're good at what you do, when a good manager comes along, your expectation of them will be higher. You'll require certain, you're like, if you're taking this portion of my money, and that's when you can come in at a 15 to 20% deal. But if I walk up to you right now, knowing what I know, I'm gonna be like, give me 80%. And how would you say no? If I can say, this is what I've made in the last year off of artists, and this, you've made $150, or you've made $1,500, or you've made $5,000. Why would I take less than what I know that I can get? Like, the 80% for the 20% for you will be higher than what you're making still. I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying you have no leverage if you walk into the room asking for help versus bringing value.
Right. Yeah, that was going to be the only thing that I would add, because I know that, typically you don't get a manager until you have things to manage. But if you do happen to get somebody that sees the vision super early, before there is something to technically manage, and they help you manifest that vision, then we're having a conversation about that 20%, because it's probably going to be a couple years for that to happen. And if you want me to put in that sweat equity, it's got to be a different type of relationship.
I know managers now who are taking like monthly. Like, I got a homie, one of the guys who actually, our marketing director, he has an artist, and the artist really wanted him. He was like, man, I believe in you. Like, call me anytime you have questions. And the dude was like, nah, I want you in my daily interactions. And he was like, okay, like, I believe in it. I want you to guarantee me, I think like 25%. But he was like, also, I need a monthly stipend until you're at least making this much. And the artist was like, bet. And he's paying it. Like, the artist works a full-time job and he pays them. And I've seen the artist progress for sure. I'm not saying that it's good or bad to do it that way, but like, if you want somebody, you can figure out how to pay them. But sometimes if you're willing to pay them, it may be too soon. People are out here robbing folks. You know what I'm saying? Just little artists like, oh, come with me and I'll charge you this. It's like, nah, like, if they're not bringing you value off rip, then you shouldn't be worried about signing with the manager, in my opinion.
Right. Well, Erinn, thank you. I appreciate you letting us go over the hour. I think we learned a lot today. I'm super impressed by, all the things you've said, all the things you're doing. So hopefully we can connect on something in the future, business wise. And you definitely gonna have to come back to the MEC at some point. I'm gonna have you on as like a regular, every couple months or so if you're down.
For sure. I'm super grateful. I would love to be.
Dope. All right. Well, I know, the people that checked into this session, the number pretty much stayed the same the entire time. So people were locked in. People were locked in, and I got a lot of great content to be able to cut up for Instagram. So I appreciate it. I will definitely be in touch. Thank you guys for tuning in. Next week we'll have Scotty ATL. Hopefully, if Erinn can drag him to this session.
Not bad about the last time, for sure.
He's super cool, man. He's just got some of the best energy. I like a lot of his music too. Like I
Yeah,
like a lot. He's just a good dude, and I'm so happy that things seem to be going well for him, and he's starting to get them some shine because I know he's been grinding with
for
that grill.
years. Yeah, yep.
Those first grills that he had, mine wasn't. I know that they're top quality now, but the one he gave me, I'm just saying,
Dang,
I'm
you
having.
gotta bring that up next week. That's funny because
I
he's
will.
like killing it now. But I've only been with them 2 years, so I'm fresh to it. But that's funny.
Yeah, nah, I might even have it. I might have shown him what it looks like.
Yeah,
I
you
know
gotta
he's.
show it to him.
All right. Well, thanks again. I'll definitely be
Thank
in
you
touch.
so much, Dane.
I'm gonna circle back. I'm gonna shoot you my number. Text me so I'll lock you in.
Okay, bet. Let's do it. Thank you so much. Thanks, everybody.
All right, y'all. Have a good week. Peace.